So it's been a beautiful kaleidoscope in terms of the reflections that we've been seeing in the last few days, and people just bringing together pieces of the puzzle and sharing their insights and perspectives of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. In fact, many more people, ordinary South Africans, are continuing to do exactly that, including those who never really encountered the Arch face-to-face in person, but some of them deciding that they will go through to St. George's Cathedral to pay their last respects at this moment. In fact, that's where we find eNCA's Ayesha Ismail, who is on standby and just monitoring the flow of people. Ayesha, I imagine then that the doors have now been opened, and like we were seeing yesterday on day 2, South Africans, a steady stream of South Africans coming through to pay their respects.
The doors have opened for the general public to enter Tulas, but what is happening at the moment is that they are allowing members of the clergy, the church wardens, as well as the members of the brigade to go into the cathedral right now and to give them an opportunity to pay their respects to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. But as you can see, Tulas, behind me, there are people standing here, Muslims, Christians, standing together with Palestinian flags, and they've made it very clear to me that they are not here to protest. They are here to highlight the plight of the Palestinians, but at the same time, they've come here to form a guard of honor for Archbishop Desmond Tutu, a man that they deeply respected. And I'm now joined by Mr. Jansen from the Cape Town chapter of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. And we were talking earlier about, and you also made it clear, that you're here to come and form a guard of honor for Archbishop Desmond Tutu, because we know that he was a friend of Palestine.
Absolutely. Archbishop Tutu was one of the few global figures that openly and vociferously supported the Palestinians' liberation, cause for liberation against the Israelis. He exposed the atrocities quite regularly. He visited the area and spoke out, unlike many global leaders who simply ignore the Palestinians' cause or are complicit in their oppression. And for that, we're thankful. We're very, very grateful for his contribution. And what's very important was that he was unequivocal about his support for the Palestinians, but many other causes against oppression all over the world, whether it was Zimbabwe under ZANU-PF, Myanmar, as we know what's happening there with the regime there, all over the world, including post-apartheid South Africa. And for that, we salute him. We admired him for that.
And some of the people that I've been speaking to were also saying that, you know, we lost Nelson Mandela, now we're losing, or we've now lost Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and it's going to leave a void. But it was also the intention and the desire of Archbishop Desmond Tutu to have young people, young activists also coming up. And perhaps, you know, we look at people and we think, you know, who's going to be the next Archbishop Desmond Tutu? Or who's going to fill those big shoes?
Well, we are hoping that his passing and what the media is showing about, you know, his contribution will be a catalyst for young people to step forward and to fill up, you know, the shoes. We are not liberated, as we well know. We know that post-apartheid South Africa, for the majority, has been a huge disaster. Socioeconomically, people are, in some cases, worse off than we were under apartheid. So there is a leadership void. We need mass organizations. We need the protest movement that figures like Archbishop Tutu led in the 1980s. We need the revival of those kinds of structures and movements to protest and oppose what is happening in South Africa and, in fact, globally today. So hopefully, as I said, this will be a catalyst for new leadership to emerge and be serious and consistent about struggling against oppression and exploitation.
And as you say, you know, struggling against oppression and exploitation across the world. And it is also so easy to make the Palestinian issue a Muslim issue. And Archbishop Desmond Tutu was the person who came out and openly declared Israel an apartheid state.
Absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, the mainstream media has portrayed this predominantly as a Muslim issue or Muslim versus Jews issue, which is far from the reality. It's never been that. What we have in Palestine and Israel is a colonial occupation. In fact, it's a genocide that's unfolded over 80 years in Palestine. And that's what Archbishop Tutu exposed very, very well. And in fact, when he visited there, one of the most important statements he made was that the suffering of the Palestinians, their oppression, the colonial occupation is much, much worse than what we suffered under apartheid. And it's not about, you know, comparing, it's just the reality. And he was hoping that people all over the world, because of, you know, that experience, would oppose, just as they opposed apartheid with sanctions, divestment, etc., that the same should happen to the Israeli regime.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. And Tulas, I'm also just going to ask Mario to show you the members of the brigade that played outside St. George's Cathedral. They're all now filing up outside the cathedral, waiting for their turn to go inside to go and pay their respects to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And then further down Government Avenue, and we're standing here right outside the arch that was created for the arch. We can also see there's a long line of people also standing, waiting to go inside the cathedral to pay their respects.